Good day everyone, welcome. My name is Gena, and this video I decided to talk a little bit about my background in martial arts and some of my experience. And the title of this particular video is basically Fighting Without Fighting. So I'm really going to talk about my Taekwondo instructor, whose name is Sun Jin Young. We're going back, of course, to when I was a teenager, 16, 17, 18 years old, after which I went into the military and I served in the US Navy. I apologize for the interruption. Again, my phone rang and it, of course, automatically cuts off. Let me grab a chair here or something, or stand back so you can see my ugly face. So, okay, and I'm almost done with this. Oh, man, that's so good. So anyway, if there are Korean people that are going to be watching this, they will hate me. You guys will hate me because, well, my Taekwondo instructor, he of course was a Korean, and I don't say this of course because obviously not only Koreans teach the art of Taekwondo, but my instructor happened to be a Korean, and my experience was not the best. Let me grab a chair. So, the art of fighting without fighting, and I think I'm gonna put this camera down a little bit. Let's see, how's that? Alright. Alright, so when I started Taekwondo, I was about 16 years old. This is when my family moved to Los Angeles, and before that we lived in St. Louis, where I studied a little bit of Hung Gar Kung Fu, and that was not in a formal setting. That was just some old guy that I met at a park, and at that time, I barely spoke English. He was Chinese. He barely spoke English. So most of our communication was physical. But anyway, back to the future. So my instructor, Sun Jin Young, he also did not speak English very well. And according to him, he moved to LA from Alaska, where he had school. So his family, with his wife, he moved to LA, opened up a school here, and I was his first pupil in the school. And probably for the first 2 to 3 months, it was just me. And I guess a couple months later, there's more students started to come in. I would take his flyers and go pass them out and try to promote. He was 33 years old at that time, and he was a big guy. He's 6 foot tall. He was in incredible physical shape. He only weighed 165 pounds, but all solid muscle. What I found a little odd, that he was literally would cry to me and saying, "Oh, what kind of a master am I have no students." I'm saying, "Look, you have me, and more people will come. I'll help you. I'll advertise for you as much as I can." And at that time, I was paying. This is going back to 1983, 84. And back in those days, I was paying him $75 a month. And then his other students, they were paying him like 50. I guess I'm special, huh? But anyway, uh, what I found was interesting that he would never call me by my name. At that time, I used name Gary. I've adopted an American name Gary, just to make things easier for everybody. And people found it difficult to pronounce my real name, which is Gena, or Gennady, which is my full name. So I just adopted the name Gary. But anyway, so he would never use my name. The only thing he would call me boy. So initially I figured, well, that's probably because it was difficult for him to pronounce my name. So I kind of let it slide. Of course I didn't like it, but I let it slide. And over a little bit of time, I see he's calling everybody else by their name, and yet he just calls me boy. But anyway, after about a year or so, after I got my green belt and above, green, blue belt, he got really lazy, and he would send me out to teach his classes, beginning classes, of course, not. And at that time there was no advanced classes. I was his first student there. Later, some other guys joined the school who were older than I and had experience in other martial arts and karate and whatnot. And they brought in their own rank, and he let them keep their rank. Well, whatever, I didn't care about that. I'm just filling up the gaps here and there. So later, about 2 years later, he decided to change locations from the one we were at, and I helped him with the move and everything. And he also asked me to lend him some money. He asked me to lend him $300. All right, so I'll lend him $300. Time goes by, and he's not paying me back. So finally I approached him and I said, look, you need to pay me back. And the response that I got from him, I just could not believe my eyes and ears. He made this killer face, and he said to me, what are you gonna do about it? And I was like, what? And we were alone, one-on-one. There was nobody else in the school. It was in the evening. I was like, what you gonna do about it? I was dumbfounded. I was already turned 18 at that time. I was a red belt in his school. And I was just shocked. Why would he act this way? And my eyes just filled up with tears. My eyes filled up with tears. I was about ready to break down and cry. And I've been growing up watching Kung Fu TV series with a lot of philosophy and the righteousness of how a master, of what a true master is, all the good things that are supposed to be displayed and portrayed and adhered to. And I just couldn't believe it. And I don't know how, but I said to him, you know what? You're not a master. And I swear to you, I thought he was gonna jump up and kill me. And so at that point I just kind of got up and left in a hurry. And yes, I told my mommy and my daddy that look, this teacher of mine is behaving in this manner. So I went back with my mom, and of course he was not gonna behave like this in front of her, you know. I mean, and she was a little bit older than him, but anyway, I mean, it's a different dynamic. So he ended up giving me back $200, and he said, okay, for the next 2 months, whatever, you don't have to pay that $100 that's left over. Let it go towards your school fee. And what do you think? Did I continue going there? Well, yes. For the next 2 months, I stayed there to get my money's worth. Of course, I really wasn't. It was basically a principle of the matter. And my military contract was starting in half a year. So when those 2 months were done, so was I. I was done. Oh, and by the way, I never got a certified black belt from him. He said he wanted $300. I said, screw that. I know my skill. I've sparred with guys who were third-degree black belts at that time. Not watered-down black belts, but Korean guys who really, really were serious about this stuff. So, you know, they were really good and going to serious competitions. They were extremely fast. And some of them I was kicking their ass. So I knew what my skill was. I did not need a paper certificate to, and I've went to competitions and I've competed in forms and in sparring. Although when I first started doing competitions, I told my instructor, okay, I'm going to competition, and he was against it. He didn't want me to go and compete for whatever reason. Maybe he didn't think I was good enough. But after my first competition, I came back and I showed him my first place trophy. His mouth just was kind of like this. And I know some students from other schools, when they earn trophies, they give these trophies to the school to show their, I guess, appreciation or whatnot. You know, this is basically thanks to you, I was able to earn this. But in this case, I did not, because I felt that it was my effort. It wasn't him. That he did not put in time into me to get me to the level that I was. I put in my own time. I pushed myself. Yeah. So anyway, when I left his school, about a month later, I just kind of swung by to see what's going on there, and the school was closed. Why was it closed? Well, I was teaching most of the classes. He was sitting on his ass in his office. I built a relationship with the students. I brought in students for him, and I also got those students to go with me and spread the flyers out and advertise for him. So I had the relationship with those people. He did not. So when I left, so did everybody else. They really had no interest in him. So that's part one. Then I went into the military. I did my 2 years of service, and I came back, and I decided to look him up to see if he's teaching anywhere. And what do you know? I found that he is running a school at another location. So I'm thinking, let bygones be bygones. I go over there, and I see a bunch of people in the school, a lot of black belts there. Of course, I don't know how really good they were, but there was a lot of black belts in there. So I come into the school, I take off my shoes, I do my salute and bow, pay the respect to the dojang and the flag, and I go into the office, and there he's sitting. So I walk into the office, I said, I bowed and I said, hello, Master Yang, how are you? And the first thing that came out of his mouth is, oh, boy, I said, wait a second, my name is Gary. And he says to me, I know can call you boy? I said, no sir, my name is Gary. And he flipped out. He started yelling at the top of his lungs, "Get out! Get out!" So I bowed, I turned around, and I walked out. Put on my, went back to the front door, put on my shoes, again, paid my respects to the flag and the dojang. I saluted, bowed, and left. And a month later, I don't know why, but I decided to drive by there again, and the school was shut down. I figured that people have seen his true nature, probably decided that this is not the person they want to study with. And so this is what I call, although this was not intentional, I never intended to have him lose his school and students, but this is the result, and this is why I call this fighting without fighting. There was no physical altercation, but my moral compass and my ethics, I believe, to have already been developed higher than this person. Although he, according to him, of course, and I have no doubt that he earned his 6th-degree black belt on a physical level, not a moral, emotional, ethical level. And I think those things should always be considered when studying martial arts and being advancing, or advancing someone in rank, should be not only according to their physical prowess, but on their state of mind as well. You cannot separate those two in martial arts, because, and this is of course my personal belief, if you separate these two things, if you just train physical and not mental, emotional, spiritual, if you're just training physical, you might as well be training somebody who's inside is a killer. So you'll just have a trained killer and not a true martial artist. And that is my opinion. Be interesting to know what you guys, my viewers, think of this. I would really like to get your views and your input. And also, I've had some comments from some of you guys who really enjoy my comedy work of the Arkasha show, and I also had a couple of, one commentator asking me to do more of martial arts themes for videos, which I enjoy doing the comedy, and I love my martial arts, but I find myself perplexed. There's so much martial art videos that are out there. I really don't know what you guys may want to see. So if there's something that you're interested in martial arts, it would be great if you would give me and ask me specifics that I can address, and thus make it more beneficial for everyone. This way I will give you what you want, and not only simply what I think you may want. And I don't want to just do stuff to I don't want to show off, and I really, I guess that's the main thing. I don't want to come across as a show off. What I do want is I want to help you guys who are watching, who have the interest, and really give you that what you need, not simply what I think you need. I guess I'll finish up this video here, and I look forward to seeing you and hearing from you guys. I wish you all the best and hope to see you soon. Oh, and P.S. This is more recent, within the last decade. I decided to, about 10 years ago, there's another Taekwondo guy that had a school not too far from where I live, and I just kind of wanted to join in and just be part of the group, I guess. And I just put on a white belt and whatnot and joined the school. But this guy, he right away he sees, I'm not a I'm not a white belt by any standard, and I think he was starting to get a little jealous. Although he is in better shape than I was, and but I think he was starting to get jealous because other students were starting to look to me for some reason with questions on flexibility, and some guys just approached me, hey, how'd you get so flexible? How'd you do that? And how'd you do this? And instead of asking the instructor that's already running the school. And so one time we were doing board breaks, or basically he was holding these rebreakable boards, and I have some. Actually, let me show you what I'm talking about. This right here, and this is the hardest rebreakable board on the market. So it's covered with this black thin kind of foam, so it cushions the impact a little bit. And this is equivalent to breaking an 1.5 inch, I think, pine board. So this is tougher than just a pine board that they use for demonstration breaks and whatnot. Those boards are not 1 inch that are being sold, though they say, oh, 1 inch board break. They're actually 3/4. I measured them. Yeah. But so this is actually equals to 2 of those boards. So anyway, in class he was using one of these, and we were doing, just regular straight punch breaks, whatever. And he was using these clamps that you clamp down, so you don't have to hold the board itself, but you hold this clamp, so when it breaks, that's what break. So you don't, I guess, hurt your hand and whatnot. So he would normally you would put a clamp here and put a clamp here because it breaks in the middle here. And I did a couple of breaks, and then what he did, and he thought I did not notice, he used the clamp to clamp it here and clamp it here. So if you do that, there's no way you can break this thing if you have clamps here, you can imagine. And that son of a bitch, he did that on purpose. So he tried to hurt me. And of course, after that, I, what? Fuck you, I'm out of here, you're a jerk. So that's Korean guy number 2. Then I went to another school that's also not too far, and I did not join in, I just went to check it out. So I come into the school, and this junior instructor there, he's a 4th degree black belt according to him. So I walk in, I introduce myself, my name is Gena, and just came by to take a look what's going on. And he introduces himself, I forget his name, but he said, my name is Master whatever, Master Joker, Master Bader. And I said, your first name is Master? So why the hell are you gonna, so these people, for some reason, I see this in Taekwondo system a lot. There's so much ego, so many egotistical people. It's unbelievable. Um, I have not noticed that too much in the karate systems, as in Japanese, Okinawan, whatever. But when it comes to Korean systems, for some reason, these Korean individuals, at least the ones that I've met, tend to be very egotistical. So, so I said, your name is Master? Okay, bye. So, okay, that's it. We'll see you guys later. Ciao.